What's up, and welcome in to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking us out wherever you find the podcast. Thank you so much for supporting and liking and sharing and subscribing to everything that we do and commenting to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We are presented by Shopify. Yes, Shopify. Your business starts with Shopify. Start for free. Keep building for $1 a month plus earn up to $10,000 in credits as you sell Shopify. Now, make sure that you go to the link that is in the bio of this podcast, whether you're listening to it or watching on YouTube. Make sure that you visit the link below, use that link, and make sure you start saving with Shopify. It's time to talk about the Bears. The Bears will be taking on the LA Rams coming up on Sunday, and to talk to us about it, we go to the Windy City Pod and that Davis show. It is the great Ken Davis, and he's with us here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Ken, good to see you.
Good to see you, my guy. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I can read, man. See, it says on the bottom, it says Shopify. Even though I've called it something else several times, it is Shopify.
It's the worst one is when you keep making the mistake, and you usually don't make the mistake, but you have to keep doing it prior to a show starting, and it becomes a problem because you can't get it out of your head and you're laughing and stuff like that. But it happens to all of us, man.
Yes, including me. So folks, this is like the 8th time that we started this because I cannot pronounce the sponsor's name, but it is Shopify, and that is a real link that's in the bio. Even if I can't pronounce it, you can still click on it. You'll know where to go as we get ready for the Bears and the LA Rams. Before we get to that game, and I'm looking forward to it just like you are on Sunday, Ken, I just want to get your overall thoughts about the Bears and Packers. We have not spoken since that last game. Just incredible stuff, man, from the Bears to once again come from behind and win a victory. But this one definitely we'll always remember because it's the 3rd time the Bears have played the Packers in the playoffs, and they got it done.
Yeah, I mean, the range of emotions from that taking place was crazy. I mean, to go through so much of that game feeling like, damn, we did all this, and the Bears got their asses handed to them, particularly the first half. But to have them to score that many points in the 4th quarter and sitting there and just be like, all you got to do is run out the clock. And like my whole family, usually like I grew up, everyone in the family were watching sports.
Yeah.
And with me with the old lady, and you would notice like back in the 90s, it was cool for girls to be like, yeah, I watch sports. Now, even though me and her got together in the early aughts, but that's when it became like girls like, I like sports too. So she used to like sports, but then her excuse is, you overwhelm me with sports. But she watches football with me. Yeah. She watched some things, but she doesn't lock in like it was back when we were young. And my kids, my daughter will watch it sometimes. My son, I have to force him, which for me is infuriating. With like, I went into any house, my grandmother, my dad, my granddad, the same sport will be on. I mean, any room, I meant to say. But the point being, and why I'm saying that now, we were all in the room. And I remember my son was on the floor, and looking down at him, I was like, that's why you effing watch sports, right? And just how we screamed. And it was like, oh my God, like just that feeling of emotion. That they won a playoff game and they beat the Packers, and they did what we all know that they've been doing, which is like they're never out of the game. But to do that in the playoffs and to take that next step for this young team, I mean, man, it meant so much to have that happen, man. And man, it was beautiful. Like that right there, if that's the cherry on top of this season, I will enjoy that cherry. If that's the last victory that they have of this season, I'm not saying that it will be. We'll discuss, of course, this upcoming game against the Los Angeles Rams. But that moment of elation is something that I hope everyone holds on to and appreciates, particularly everyone who's rooted for teams that have been terrible for so long, and people that's had to make content for teams that have been terrible. Man, again, I mean, you're fortunate to make content, but when it has to be about something that's negative 90% of the time, sometimes you kind of get burnt out.
Yeah, and watching this team, you're ahead of schedule, which we've discussed this season, Ken. You're ahead of schedule, but then you're making these spectacular plays like Caleb Williams, light years away from where he was in year one. In year one, you have all these different coaches in his head and just not knowing how to play the position properly, and working with Ben Johnson, working with the coaching staff. And then on top of that, all those weapons, I'm happy for Caleb Williams because he's put in a position where he's got guys that's got his back. Like a Roma Dunze on 4th and 8, like DJ Moore, big plays, and Zacchaeus, a veteran, and Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland, who had a game out of his mind, right? So, and then a running game, and then an offensive line that's going to protect you. All of this is great for the Chicago Bears because, as we know, this build is supposed to be incremental. Here's a little seasoning here. Here's somebody for the next year. Sometimes coaches don't even make it for 2 years. Now it's a little seasoning here. No, they pushed it all in for year one of Ben Johnson. And for Caleb, man, I mean, he's got so many things to work with. But then on top of that, you can see his confidence rising as the season progresses.
Yeah, I mean, even when you say from last year, even the first 6-7 games of the year where Caleb is at right now is something different. Like, one, it's funny. I like to talk to all the people again that was saying that put Bajan in, and I was doing I was on something talking about this. We were live streaming. We live streamed the show at the end after the game, and somebody in the chat was like, "Bajan is still a really good backup, a great backup." I was like, "Yes, he is." But just to think about what people were saying at the beginning of this year and where they are now, and how they were just ready to pitch Caleb away and Ben Johnson to a degree, and now he's the toast of the town basically, and he still is incomplete, but you see everything that you thought you were going to see from that player coming out of SC, and you've seen him now doing it in the pros at even a higher level. That's what makes this feel even better, because usually the things this hoodie, when the Bears have a miracle season, you always still see the flaws. Like, we know the biggest flaw this Bears have is the pass rush this season. The Bears, their pass rush and linebacker play have been up and down, really, but the pass rush leading ahead of that. But for the most part, it's usually there's a question about the quarterback. You look at 2018, the question was, well, is Mitch for real or not? You know what I'm saying? After Mitch came back from injury, he really wasn't the same player that he was prior to injury, because tape was out on him. You go back to 05-06, who really believed in Rex? I was more of a Cal Orton guy, but both of them still have flaws. The way you never thought, okay, this is going to be a guy that could be a decisive quarterback and make it flow when it's not flowing. Caleb makes it flow when it's not flowing all the time. Sometimes it's not flowing because of him, but he makes it. I mean, what was the biggest thing about Justin Fields? He never makes a comeback in the fourth quarter. Yeah. That's all Caleb does, is make comebacks in the fourth quarter. And like, the things that you want your quarterback to do that makes them like, oh my goodness, that's him. This kid naturally, innately does that. And that's the thing that's different, to your point about going all in this year. They have so many things. You mentioned all the weapons that he already has at his disposal, right? Like, we haven't even seen what the true profile of player, pro and draft wise, that Ben Johnson's going to want to have in his system yet. Really, we've seen it a little bit with Colston Loveland, and the decision, if you're going to go with a tight end, he wants to go with him opposed to Ty Warren coming out of Penn State, and that has worked for them. I was a Ty Warren guy, but I see why you said you wanted a guy that was similar to Sam Laporta instead of a Gronk-esque type of guy in Ty Warren. So that this feels so much better because there's a length to this. You can see the window doesn't seem like, unless injuries take place, that it's going to snap closed like that. And that's a real big difference when it comes to the Bears having a golden year like they've had so far this season.
From Ben Johnson's standpoint as a head coach, I mean, you think about his first year as a head coach, he's got all these different weapons. But against the Rams defense, we should talk about what Ben Johnson has up his sleeve. Look, that game against Green Bay, the Bears were not able to run the football like we wanted them to because you're behind 21-3. I mean, you're going for it on fourth down, fourth and forever, just to keep the defense off the field. Ultimately, that's one of the reasons, but also, I mean, he was very desperate, I thought, to try to find something, like a spark for this offense just to get a first down, and it didn't work in the first half, but it certainly turned around in the second half. So from a running game standpoint, against this Rams defensive line, can the Bears look at the running game and say, we got to do that first? Can we mix the run and the pass and still get into the end zone against the Rams?
You better, because time possession is going to be an issue when it comes to this game. Now, listen, when I'm saying this, The Bears have proven that they can win anyway. All right, but I'm saying the most likely way to succeed is in my opinion. All right, the Rams are in the top 10 to 15 when it comes to running yards given or whatever, right? So they're not the best, but they're not slouches when it comes to that either. You better have your running game to keep Matthew Stafford and those receivers and Kyron Williams and those tight ends off the field. Because that kind of catch-up game, the Bears have proven they can do it. Sooner or later, it's going to bite you in the butt. You're not going to be able to come all the way back and score that many points in one quarter. It's just the likelihood of doing that every game, even though they've been doing it a lot, doesn't necessarily seem like you're going to be able to continue to do it. So, yes, they have to run. I'll say this, too, though. Like Green Bay, and you mentioned it, one, you're playing from a position of catch-up. So you can't stick to the run, even though he didn't go full on all the time, pass, because it's going to be 3 and outs a lot. If you try to do that in a catch-up game, they did run situationally. You have to try to establish the run to slow down the Rams offense, because this is this is probably the craftiest quarterback in the league. You're talking about a guy with some of the greatest arm capacity. When we're talking about spin, power, sling, arm slot, Matthew Stafford is still that guy at this age. And we've seen him in the NFC North for years of what he could do before he was a proven winner when he got to Sean McVay with the Rams. So, yes, you have to run the ball just to help the defense. You need to really run the ball.
And since you brought up the Bears defense, Matt Stafford, then we're going to get into the weeds a little bit. And I want you to tell me what you hear when I tell you about the story that was written by Sean Hammond from the Chicago Tribune regarding Matt Stafford. So, okay. So let's start here. So Stafford is obviously an MVP caliber season. He threw for a career high and league-leading 46 touchdown passes, leads the league in passing yards of 4,700. The Rams had the number one offense in both points and total yards. The yards was 400 a game and 30 points a game. Ken, that is a ton. And one of the reasons why that the Rams were considered like the best in the NFC coming in, because it's Sean McVay's offense. And you got Matt Stafford turning the clock back every year. He gets younger and younger somehow. Benjamin Button his way through the NFL, where he can be able to just pitch and catch, and he's got good receivers. So the Bears have to be very cognizant of how good the Rams can be offensively. That's one set of stats. I got more, but just your overall thoughts about Stafford, because with the running game and the receivers that they have, it can be tough on the Bears defense.
Well, listen, I like the Benjamin Button reference. Let's think about this. This was a guy a couple of years ago that his back was perceived as being an issue to where his career may be winding down. Then there was the wife talking about the age difference was in the locker room, but really he wanted more money, and were they going to give him money? Because there was a talks about perhaps him going to the Giants this past offseason. And look at where he is right now. Listen, those defensive backs better be on their game, because this is a quarterback that finds open windows in ways that most quarterbacks can't. That pass up the sideline to that tight end, all right? The catch was immaculate. The pass was immaculate. This guy is different. You know, like he's everything we wanted Jay Cutler to be, basically. And when I'm talking about not the athlete as far as when Jacob really had wheels on him, but all the arm stuff, this is everything. And the football IQ is crazy. You know, like Matthew Stafford is a problem. You know, like seriously. And I think sometimes because we were used to him playing in Detroit and that was a debacle for the most part. But really after the first 4 or 5 years, because coming out of Georgia, and you would know more than me, but coming out of Georgia, his ability to stay healthy was a question. And that was a question for years initially. And then he was healthy. And it was just more of their defense. I forgot Schultz or whoever that was, where he had a good year there when Ndamukong Suh and them was there, but he couldn't really rein in the team or whatever. It was really the coaching and management around them. That's why Barry Sanders retired early. That's why Megatron retired early, is because really they have a problem until really Dan Campbell, to be honest with you, as far as consistently winning in Detroit, you know. And when Stafford got out of there and was traded, you saw oh man, it was more Detroit definitely than it was him. But he is a beast. The stats that you gave out prove why he probably will win the MVP. I think one is early for Drake May, but those numbers are MVP-esque numbers, and he is the fulcrum. And when it comes to that team offensively, and then the flip side, I know I'm not trying to talk about, I never would have thought with Aaron Donald retiring that they were going to be able to have a good defense. This defense isn't as good as it was last year, but still, you were like, they weren't going to be able to go win another title if the best defensive player in the league is retiring, and they have a chance to definitely go and win the title because of what they can do on offense, but also situationally this year, what they can do on defense, even though their DBs are kind of lacking right now.
Okay, so we can agree that the difference between the defense for the Bears in the first half and the second half is that the Bears, as usual, did not have a good pass rush. They could not get to Jordan Love. But in the second half, the Bears sent some guys from the secondary, whether it was Gordon or whether it was Jaquan Brisker. There was a number of guys from the secondary that came to rush the passer to just kind of throw Jordan Love off. Now, I would imagine that we're going to see the Bears utilize the blitz again. But here's the thing. How about this, Ken? Stafford's numbers are great no matter how you look at them, right? So especially when teams are blitzing. In the regular season, opponents blitz Stafford at the highest rate since 2018, which goes back to, as far as the NFL Pro data goes. It's 32.9% that he is able to complete. So he's got a passer rating of 32 touchdowns and 1 interception when an extra rusher comes at him. That's 32 of his 46 touchdowns came against the blitz. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you can't get home with your defensive line, and you always need help. Like if you're not getting home, the Bears do need help, right? From the secondary, somebody to be able to. So Stafford gets the ball out so quickly, different arm angles, because that's who he is, right? Different slots, like a starting pitcher, that he's able to excel greatly against the blitz. What do the Bears do about that?
You better hope your front four does a better. You better hope your front four plays similar to how they played in the second half. Yes, they did blitz. Austin Booker again was popping. Like I was saying on our show. Listen, Austin. You can be a bust, and you will be worshipped in this city if you can just ball out for a few more games. And the rest of your career, boy, you can be nothing. You can be Mark Anderson, young man. But if you sit there and just ball out, not Chicago will love you for. We will wait 2 more years at least to see you play the way you've been playing and be like, maybe there's a chance he could come back, knowing there's no chance he could come back. But if you can do that, the thing is this, and the crazy thing is, we have a young quarterback who plays like that, plays well versus the blitz. But that's why you want crafty veterans. When we talk about, and this is any sport, but we talk about the lack of veterans in the locker room. One of the reasons is because they've seen it all, and Matthew Stafford has seen it all. He knows, okay, if this guy is vacating this space coming for me, I know there's going to be either that guy's going to be open or I'm looking over here. Like, that's why he is who he is. And look, again, you're going to have to hope your front four plays well. But as you said, they're going to have to blitz them because their front four isn't formidable. So you're going to have, but the thing will be, blitzes that they haven't really seen. I don't know how many of those Dennis Allen has up his pocket left because he's had to blitz a lot and he's a blitz happy coordinator. But you better hope that CJ Gardner-Johnson isn't on concussion protocol. That's another body that you can send at him. And I'd rather him been rushing at the quarterback than playing in coverage. Listen, you better hope that those guys that seem like they were on a snap count, your highest paid DBs, referring to Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, have their legs under them more than they have, because Kyler Gordon didn't look like Kyler Gordon. And at one point, Green Bay was picking on him that last game. And Jalen hasn't looked like Jalen, but Jalen popped last game too a couple of times where he batted balls that could have changed the game had the defender been able to make those catches. But man, you're gonna have to pray. That's what to answer your question. Prayer, right?
Okay.
Please, okay, sir. Please, because I mean, the only thing you can do, this guy is good at going up against it. So what's going to happen.
So, and something else too about this defense, about the defense that the Bears have against the Los Angeles Rams. So you would think, Ken, it's like, okay, well, hey, if Stafford is able to get 32 touchdowns and throws one interception when they send an extra rusher at him, then all they need to do is just, intercept the football. He threw 7 of his 8 interceptions when a team didn't blitz, and his passer rating dropped to 94. So when he does give up the football, it's not because of the blitz, it's just because coverage issues or whatever for the Rams. Maybe a ball pops through the hands or whatever. But the bottom line is that the Bears defensive coordinator, Coach Allen, blitzed just 5 times on 16 passing plays in the first half against Green Bay. In the third quarter, Allen sent an extra rusher on 5 of the 8 passing plays. The Packers punted on all 3 of those third quarter possessions. So it worked for sure against Jordan Love. What I'm saying is that this defense right here, this defense has to be able, with its front 4, to get the Bears off the field, to get it to the offense. Matt Stafford and that offense is so good that it's not about interceptions. It's not about a blitz because Stafford can handle it. And then again, from the Bears standpoint, they have to do the job. Just like they did in the second half of that game against the Packers. They got no choice. They got to do it. And as you say, Joel Osteen.
Yes, snake oil all over the place.
Hey, he's got more fans than Houston Rockets in his arena, don't you know?
That he won't let anybody in when it's an emergency.
No, can't do that.
Oh, not soiling my seat, sir. The good Lord told me close the doors.
Yes. Close the doors.
It's the reverse Marvin Sapp. We're not letting them in. All right.
No, close the doors. That's exactly right.
Who? Close the doors.
Anytime I didn't see Osteen smile is when he knew that people needed him. That's when he stopped smiling. It's funny how that works.
Listen,
Google that, kids.
Liddy, they're gonna need luck. All right, just to be honest with you, because you're dealing with this quarterback and he can handle the blitz, and that's the only thing that you have going for you. So again, that to my last point. Hopefully the DBs are healthier. Because one, shout out to them for playing gritty. Being not no one's 100% healthy, but we could tell that these guys aren't what they would be if this was the beginning of the season and they could wait a couple more games. Hey, I'm just out here because I had to be out here. But you better hope those DBs can play better and stay with their man. And Doc, the problem is you're talking about probably the best tandem. Well, no, maybe the second best tandem behind the Bengals, but the best tandem in football. I mean, Puka Nacua is a beast, and Devontae Adams is great. Has been great for at least 8 years. Mm-hmm. And like, so that's going to be a problem, man. Like that. This is going to be interesting. Like as I said, any of those NFC West teams is going to be a problem. All right, that's just the truth. To get to wherever the Bears are going, it seems like you're going to have to go through the NFC West teams, at least one or two of them, depending on what happened in this game and what happens in the other divisional game. Excuse me. So listen, man, you better strap on your hard hat because they're coming, and hey, it's going to be bad weather, right?
I don't know. It's just going to be cold.
Yeah. It's going to be cold.
Just so you know, there is no Bears weather, sir. There is no Bears weather.
That's why I grinned when I said it.
Yeah, there's no Bears weather. Ask the teams like San Francisco and Atlanta. They will come in here in December and whoop our ass. As we are presented by Shopify. Shopify. The link is in the bio. Check it out. Again, it is your business starting with Shopify. Start for free. Keep building for $1 a month. Plus, you earn up to $10,000 in credit as well when you go to Shopify. In the bio is where you can find the link. I want to ask you a question that's been going on this week on the Cap and J Hood Morning Show. So the question is about the offensive line. And those that know offensive line play like yourself maybe would pick this up. We'll take a look at this and maybe have a thought on it. I saw on your platform you hadn't talked about this, so that's why we're here. Do you feel like the offensive line is wearing down? And so I would say, hey man, you've been playing since what, October? Like in a row, like you haven't had, your break was early instead of like week 12, week 14 for the bye. It's been early. So I would say that, yes, it's not as effective as it was in the regular season, Ken, but it's not like it's broken down because Caleb still's upright. He's not getting killed back there. Maybe a tick where, Caleb has to move a little faster, but the offensive line has been going out there. And by the way, not missing time for the most part, except on the left tackle position. Everyone's been out there. So what do you see when you see the offensive line for the Bears?
I think they're tired. I mean, when you see like Joe Thuney, guys getting by him that you hadn't seen early in the season, you see Drew Dahlman a couple of times. It's nothing like rewinding that tape and be like, where did that come from? And it's coming down. It's like that's coming straight down the middle. And one thing, depending out with Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright hasn't consistently, and this wasn't last week, but hasn't consistently performed well against the tier of player that he is ascending to be, with now becoming second team All-Pro. He has to, and this is different from this. This is important to this game. We're talking about Young and Verse. He has to go have a stalemate versus the top players, like when he's playing a Watt or Myles Garrett. He has to be where you're like, oh, that is why we got that guy too, even though he's playing against Hall of Famers. But yeah, it's not a knock on them. This is longer than some of them have perhaps played recently. I know the Falcons haven't been playing deep into the postseason. And you look at Jonah Jackson, where he didn't even they got him out the place down there with the Rams or whatever. So he had been getting that type of tick since he was with the Lions. And Joe Thuney is older, and like you pointed out, it's been the left tackle, but they still been good. It's just been something like, for instance, there have been times where the last couple of games, the defenders have been able to collapse on Caleb and sack him. It's happened like once a game, where earlier in the year, it didn't happen like that. Like he would be able, because one defender was being held back. One defender may be able to get him, but usually one defender was being held back. But there's been a couple of times where you're like, oh, they got him now, because it's just the swarm has gotten to him. But they've been playing well enough. It's just, it's the season. It's time. Like, and also it's the plays. Like, one thing I was pointing out this about the defensive line towards the end of that Packers game was giving it all that they could, but they were burnt. I mean, when if you play sports, at some point that tank empty, particularly if I can't go sit down, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't stay out here and unless you're going to take a timeout, and still my batteries are low. But the same applies to the offense, to where, okay, we're trying to come back. We're playing 4 downs. Right, so usually it's 3 downs and bring in the punt team or field goal team. Nah, baby, these 4 downs are all the time right here. You know what I'm saying? So I would think it happens, and it'll be interesting to see next year what they do as far as the training, if they make it to the playoffs, to make sure maybe their condition is a little bit better, or if this is just, hey, when you play this long, and as you said, guys haven't been hurt, guard, center guard, right tackle. But also guys are probably nicked up a lot, and we just really don't know, and they're playing through some stuff that also can be debilitating when it comes to the amount of energy that you have to put out there as you get into the playoffs. And this is the last thing too. It's the playoffs. It's supposed to be ramped up and be harder.
And by the way, there's a guy that we haven't heard from since like September. Mm-hmm. He's still on the roster and a possibility to play. Oh my God, Braxton Jones. Does it come full circle where Braxton Jones, like you got Theo Benedict and Braxton Jones, that'll both be active for this game coming up on Sunday? So it's going to be the Canadian Eagle first, but then Braxton Jones is there if needed. Like, this dude apparently injured this whole time, for months. And now they're just like, yeah, we need you, bro. Like, here's a guy here that it was his job in training camp. I saw him out there, I swear, with my own eyes, Ken Davis. I saw him in July out there, and they were rotating left tackles. They were like, all right, Braxton, you're messing up. Get out of there. And here comes Theo Benedict in, and it just kind of like, and he just took it over. And then with Trapillo, the question was, could he play left or right side, or the left side or the right side? A lot of confusion about that, right? So now he's not even in the picture. It just shows you how long this season is, man. You need to have as good a quality depth as possible. That's why I'm excited for I'm a DeMarco Jackson at the will linebacker. He's a green dot again. He has to be. He's got to be out there. And so it's like guys like him and guys like Mabin Reeves that came out there. I'm like, who is 16 out there? And why is he a linebacker wearing 16? Like what that makes no sense. Like, what is he doing? But he's making plays, right? Going out there and help that second half cause. So this whole season for me has just been a bunch of dudes coming together. You never know where the rally's coming from, who's gonna make plays. It's not the stars, because it's hard to find the actual stars on this team like in abundance, but just dudes making plays. And just like the coaching matters, and then the players just executing. They all are pulling from the same rope, which is awesome.
And the preparation, like the backups, I want to say, one, they have more depth than they've had in the past. But I will also say this, because we usually just poo-poo everything from the past. There were times, even in the past couple years under Eberflus, where linebackers stepped up when the linebackers were out. There were places like the defensive backfield where they had depth. But the funny thing is, we've complained so long about having offensive linemen because there were so many holes on the offense outside of trying to wait to see if Darnell Wright was going to equate to his draft status.
Yeah.
But from left tackle to that guard next to Darnell Wright, there were questions upon questions. And to fill all of that out this year, right? And even if you platooned left tackle to a degree, you kind of still platooned it to the point where it didn't seem like it was an issue, where it's like, oh my God, we got to draft a left tackle with the first round pick. That's how well. But the flip side is, and this has been a problem on the offensive line, the depth that they've had for when guys went out, when Newman had to come in. As you mentioned, Trapillo being a guy in camp that they were like, nah, dude, you got to go to right because it's too much from you. And right now, you being unfortunately hurt, but looking like the best left tackle on the team. If we were starting next year off, you would start at left tackle. So that's a credit to, I would say, one, Ben Johnson, before I go Ryan Poles, because Ryan Poles seemingly didn't seem like he wanted to invest, and he was dead set on never challenging Braxton Jones for some reason. So shout out to Ben Johnson for getting the offensive line together, because none of this actually would have worked. The running, none of it, if they didn't get the offensive line together to let Caleb progress the way that Caleb has progressed. He couldn't do that laying on his back.
This dude right here, Ryan Poles, is the reason, right? Poles.
Yeah, okay, if you say so.
Well, someone had to pick up the phone. I mean, they didn't just fly here. Sign a contract.
My secretary does great work too.
That's no way to talk about your wife. That's no way to talk about a girl like that.
I'm just still look, and I root for Ryan Poles, but for the fact of being a former offensive lineman, and the fact that, I mean, we've talked about this, how he never gave Eberflus a 3 technique. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was never like, dude, you know what I need for my defense, right? And it was like, well, I heard about it, but we'll see about it, right? But you never gave them an offensive line. He kept shopping in the bargain bin for the O-line. And also, I'm gonna get some kid from Yale. I'm gonna figure it. He was hurt at school, so we'll figure it. Like, dude, this isn't brain science. It's really not. Like, you have to get some vets. You can work some youth in here, but you're going to have to spend some bread and some draft equity to fix something that is near and dear to winning in football.
Can I ask you a question, Ken Davis?
Sure.
Soldier Field. You and I go into the game. Do you think that you and I can sneak a cheese grater past the security, you and I?
No, not even possible.
Okay, I need you to answer this question, this next question. How is it that people in abundance are going to the game with a cheese grater, and we saw it on Amazon Prime? You saw these people bring in blocks of cheese in and shredding that shit on TV. That could be considered a weapon. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, like, how did they do that? They were not giving those away at the game, correct?
No, they weren't giving them. I mean, the liability of the bloody knuckles alone, I know they weren't giving them away at the game.
Yeah, I just need to understand how that happens. Also, I was told that there were like dogs that were allowed in. I know it was dog day at the Bears Green Bay game, that there was like bloodhounds up in the upper deck. Like, how do those dogs get up in there too? There's a lot of shady shit that's happening. I'm just asking the question of why. How is it that, like, there's no way if you and I went to the Sox game, and I hope that your schedule allows for us to go to the Sox games this year because I got a hookup.
Okay.
On the home of the White Sox, ESPN 1000. I would like to say that if we had cheese graters and we brought up to the game, they would stop us like cold. You couldn't go through the metal detector with that. So how is it that people in the good seats got cheese graters and doing that with cheese at the game? How did they get that in there and under those coats? Explain that.
Sounds like Chicago to me. Sounds like something underhanded took place. Somebody got to connect, like you just said. Like I got a guy. I got a guy. He'll let us get in there. We'll be good. All right, we'll be good. My guy's gonna let us. We'll be all right.
But you can't just come in with blocks of cheese. Like, they want you to buy the food in the stadium. Like, you just can't be like, yeah, this is my pet cheese. So that it is. You can't go in there with your Reagan government block of cheese and think that you can be able to just get past security and just do that.
What if the cheese is my support food item?
My support cheese?
Yes, my support cheese, my support, and one of those like fresh government blocks. Because the thing is, when that government block get hard, oh no! But that fresh block, that fresh block.
Yes, nothing like a good fresh government cheese. I enjoyed that as a child, so very much so. When we didn't even need it, we just got it because it was at the local church.
This was I only got it.
Huh?
I only got it when I had to go with my mom's side of the family. It was prevalent.
Oh my God. That's calling out the family in a big way. It was needed, he says. It was, yes. I'm sure the milk and also the cheap cereal.
Not this. I don't like milk, but the powdered milk. Oh, that's probably part of the reason that, like, I don't like cereal, but like, man, you're right. It was needed. Like, there was it was definitely some great times.
What is your final score for the game against the Rams?
I'm going to
Bears. Do the Bears win? That's the question. Do you think the Bears right now? Go ahead.
I'm not picking the Bears to lose this year again. Period. I'm not. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you.
All right.
I'm going to go Bears 29, Rams 27. I think it's going to be a 2 to 3 point game. I want to go 31, but I wonder if the wind, since it's supposed to be windy, how that could perhaps play a part in the passing game. But I'm going to go with the Bears in a slim victory, hoping that at some point they can slow down the Rams offense. If they don't have to do it the entire game, but if a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, they can slow that offense down, they can beat the Rams.
So this is a Cairo Santos game, sounds like.
You're definitely going to have at least 3 field goals, I believe. At least 3 field goals involved in that. And definitely probably 2 to 3, definitely 2 touchdowns or maybe 3 touchdowns. Yeah, 3. I would say 3 touchdowns, maybe two on feet, 1 through the air or flip side of that. But yeah, I'd have the Bears being able to perhaps Bears. Look, I think one thing that we haven't talked about, they just kind of could be a team of destiny this season. You know, I think we're so close to it that we kind of like if we were in another city watching the Bears, I think we would talk about the Bears like that. But since we're so close to it and it's just like this roller coaster ride, and it's like, wait, am I being a meatball thinking that they are destined to go all the way? But I think they honestly could be one of those teams, and I've said this, that you just like, I don't want to play them. You know what I'm saying? Like every year, usually there's a team that no one expects, but you're like, you know what? I don't want to run into them because it seems like they can't be beaten. And right now, it seems like the Bears could perhaps be a team like that. But in this bracket, there's a lot of really good teams in this bracket. So again, them getting knocked out isn't impossible at all. But again, they have been able to pull out some tricks and some rabbits out of some hats.
Those tricks come from this magician, Caleb Williams, because you just never know what Caleb is going to do. Just different arm angles. He has just been tremendous for the Chicago Bears. That offense has worked too. Run the football, Utilize your tight ends like you did with Loveland. You know that Rome and DJ are going to be there for you. The underneath stuff with Zacchaeus, the offensive line protecting for Caleb Williams, that's taken care of. Now the defense got to be able to make some plays and just to keep it close against Matt Stafford and the Rams. And then see what happens. See what happens. Who knows? All I know is that this has been a fun ride watching this team, and I'm not ready for it to end. Ken Davis, I want him to keep going, like Martin Lawrence said, ride it until the fucking wheels fall off. That's it.
Yeah, all the way. We deserve nice things too.
Yes, because I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I tell you what, today, the Bears have a chance to get to the NFC title game. Yep. Hopefully that is the case. And you know who also wants them to be there? Shopify wants them to be there as well. Yes, Shopify. That's right, Ken Davis. Shopify wants them to be there. That link is in the bio. You know, your business starts with Shopify. That's exactly right. Start for free. Keep building for $1 a month. Plus, earn up to $10,000 in credit as you sell. That link is in the bio right now for Shopify. If you hear that dinging in the background of my home, that's because Peacock's on it right now. That is just spending my money because of Shopify. That little cha-ching. That's what Shopify brings to the table. That's right. Well, sir, we're going to have to talk again next week because the Bears will still be in the playoffs. But tell people where they can find you on the Windy City Podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. The Windy City Podcast will be going. No, I don't think we're going live, but we will be posting after the Bears game. So please like and follow. Also follow me at That's Davis and follow That Davis Show. Always appreciate it. I am going to get more consistent with dropping some of my own stuff, particularly next week, but also just into the off season on different thoughts and stuff about the Bears and what's going to happen moving forward. And of course, the draft and free agency, that's the real fun time. So we're really going to jump into that. So please like and follow. And Hoodie, always appreciate you for bringing me on. And we always have a good time. You recharge my batteries with the little chit chats we do before we go and start the pod.
Yes. And also the things that you're doing on your own, that'll be like late February, like after the Super Bowl championship, correct?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Because you're not trying to rush in to try to, break down line play yet, right? You're not trying to do that yet.
You know what? I'm trying to. So for everybody, Hoodie has been putting this on me to get into the trenches. I'm trying to see how I can do it and how I can look at guests who can educate me and educate the people that are doing it. I've been letting it mull around in my head on how to go about it so that it's just not gobble, that I'm giving you facts, but I'm learning and we're both learning from the trenches out on how the Bears, but in football, some of the best parts of it. So I am listening, and it has been on my head on how to make that. You got to put it out there and you got to get reps. So you can't wait for perfection. And that's how a lot of people get stagnant. But I've been thinking about it.
That's good. You keep thinking, and then let's add the content so we can all learn. Don't just keep it up in your head, man. Just always trying to don't be selfish with it. Teach us what we need to be looking for these games. For Ken Davis, this is Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for checking out Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget, we've got merchandise as well. The merchandise is in the link as well. And don't forget the Hoodie Club. The Hoodie Club. What's your problem? The Hoodie Club?
I haven't got my hood yet.
Yeah, I'm walking it over. So I'm getting my steps in. I'm just going to walk it over. I'm just drop it like Grubhub. I'm just going to drop it right there. So sit right there on the porch. I won't ring the doorbell. I'll just drop it because that's how you do things, especially when you ordering, ribs. Just leave it. Just leave it right there.
Leave it at leave it at the door. All right.
Yeah. Just leave it right there. Barbecue, a line of barbecue just down the driveway. No love, no care. Just drop it. Bumping neighbors. It might be down the street. It may not even make your porch. You just never know when you get those deliveries.
I had an Amazon package that was in the walkway heading to the street, and I just so happened to look down at it, and it had my name on it. I said, "Oh my goodness!" Right? Like, oh man, just speaking to what you were saying.
That's the problem, and we have to talk about that in another podcast because that is a major problem. Just bring it to the door, bro. That's all. Just bring it to the door. And people just don't read numbers anymore. All these addresses, especially if you live in a good neighborhood like Ken and I, the number is actually on the door or on the you know
Yes.
the where you live. You know, you can
Yes.
see the address number there. You know.
Yes. That part.
You know, guys like me and you, and also you watching and listening, you don't live in squalor. Somewhere on your crib, there is a number, like on the mailbox or like on the, you know what I'm saying? There's a number there where you can just like read.
It's nothing like a good use of squalor.
So long, everybody.